श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। So in these verses of chapter 2, Sankhya Yoga, Sri Krishna is unfolding some key verses, very important verses on how to live a practical, intelligent life. So the 47th shloka, Karmani eva adhikaraha te ma phaleshu kadachana, says that you have a right, a choice and freedom only towards action. You're free to act. In fact, that is the privilege and blessing of a human birth, that we have the choice over action. Yeah. But ma phaleshu kadachana. But you are not the author of the phalam. Yeah. So you do not shape the result or the outcome. You're not the author. Ma karma phala hetur bhuhu. And yet, you should not resist action. Yeah, one must, in fact, love action, take interest in what is to be done, yet not be motivated by the phalam or the result. Yeah. And, sometimes when a situation becomes very challenging or unbearable as a parent or whatever the situation, then we ask these questions, why am I stuck in this situation? And why me? Why should I have to do it? Take care of parents or these children, So that is Ishvara manifesting as that very situation which will give me the inner growth. So Krishna is explaining this to Arjuna to do what is to be done. Now, if the question is asked, why cannot I determine the outcome? Because karmanaha gatihi gahana. Gita is going to say that it is very unpredictable and mysterious, the law of karma, and there are many hidden variables. Yeah, as it is said, there is many a slip between the cup and the lip. Yeah. So as a jiva, as this embodied one, we are all helpless. As a receiver, yeah, we are all alpajnaha alpashaktiman, which means my knowledge is limited, my power is limited, my wealth, skill, resources, everything you see is limited alone. So I cannot know that what will shape the result or the outcome. Then who is it that shapes the outcome or the phalam of an action? We say it is the laws. No? So there are physical laws, anatomical laws, psychological laws, law of karma, dharma, which affects the body and the mind. So collectively, finally, we say that it is Ishvaraha who is the karma phala data. Karma phala data means the one who is dispensing the karma phala in the form of papa and punyam. Yeah. And hence, what does Krishna say? Yogastaha kuru karmani sangam tyatva dhananjaya siddhya siddhyo samo bhutva samatvam yoga uchyate. So in that shloka number 48, we saw the first definition of karma yoga, which is be rooted in nishkama karma. Without being attached to the phalam, you be passionate towards the action. Yeah. Yogastaha, kuru karmani, giving up the attachment, giving up the likes and dislikes, whether it will be a siddhi or a asiddhi, success or failure. Because there is no failure in nishkama karma yoga. So that last quarter, Samatvam Yogaha Uchyate. This inward balanced response in all situations is the first definition of Karma Yoga, and it is none other than Prasada Buddhi. Prasada Buddhi we saw is that when I act, it is my offering to Ishvara. Just as when I take offering in a temple. Yeah, that is called Naivedyam. And the priest blesses it, and after the puja, I receive the prasada. So the phalam or the result, the outcome is always prasadam when it is returned. It is the phalam of an action. Yeah. So that is the first definition. Then Krishna says that those who are materialistic actors, yeah, and acting with attachment towards the phalam, motivated by raga and dvesha, durena avaran karma. They are far, far inferior to the karma yogis, yeah, and they are kripanaha. They are miserly in thought. They're settling for something so finite and limited, and they're not making use of the opportunity to grow inwardly in emotional stability and maturity and intelligence. Palahetavaha kripanaha. And so the second definition we saw in the shloka number 50. Buddhi yuktaha. So this karma yogi who is endowed with the yoga buddhi that is rooted in karma yoga, jahati, gives up what? Gives up both papa and punyam. That is, or any situation in life cannot affect this karma yogi, and he marches on the Shreyo Margaha towards moksha. Because the interest is freedom, peace, and moksha. So karma yoga is the means or the path, and the freedom or ultimate happiness, moksha, is the goal. And so Krishna says that, many things can block the outcome. If many couples try to conceive a child for 10 years, 15 years, they are unable to conceive, or somebody is not getting married, or business is not doing well, yeah, or it's a tough parenting phase, or interviews are not getting cleared. So a good astrologer will be able to point out some karmic blockages. Will say, oh, you're going through a Shani Dasha, Rahu Dasha, or there is some dosha. And so we'll suggest also varieties of pariharas, remedial measures. But despite all that, this karmic networking is so complex that we cannot figure out which action will give which result. So there is a little story which is told often in this connection, story of two boys. There are two boys in a village and they're good friends. One of them is very, is a believer in God and very sattvic and respectful, whereas the other one is, is an atheist, doesn't believe God exists, and a very critical boy. So as they're walking, they come across a temple. And the first boy says, come, let's go inside and receive the blessings of Ishvara. And the other boy says, no, I'm not coming. I do not believe in God. If you want, you go, and I'm going to take a walk. So he goes away. And the first boy goes inside the temple and prays for Ishvara's blessings. And the other boy goes for a walk. And as he's walking, he finds a gold coin. And he's very happy about it. And he returns back to the spot. And the boy that went inside the temple comes out. And as he is coming out, he is bitten by a scorpion. And he is in great pain. And he's shouting in pain. And the other boy criticizes him. He says, you went into the temple. See how God has gifted you. You got only pain. And look what I got. I got a gold coin. And so this makes the first boy even more sad, And then there is a old man, the village, astrologer, passing by, and he stops and he looks at the hand of the boys. He can read palms. So he sees that at once what is the cause for that situation, and he explains. He says the first boy was to have gone through a bigger accident. Yeah. But God was so gracious that he was only bitten by a scorpion. Yeah. So a huge disaster was averted and he got the scorpion bite as the phalam. Whereas the second boy had to receive a huge treasure, treasure a bag of coins. But, that got changed to the karmic result and he had to be content with just one gold coin. Yeah. So I also experienced something similar when I was returning from the Kumbh Mela. Now, as I was returning, when I took the airport cab, back home, it was nearly midnight. And the airport taxi was speeding a lot. And I asked him a few times, the driver, don't speed so much, slow down, slow down. There's hardly any traffic. But he did not listen. So at one point, coming down a flyover, he just rammed into the car in front. And I was sitting at the back seat and I braced myself. And, but my legs, they hit the front seat. Yeah. So some impact was there, but not much. The first thought that came to my mind was, look at the grace of Ishvara. I could have been in the hospital and anything could have happened, but just got away with some body pain. Yeah. So this shows that Ishvara's grace is always there, shaping the outcomes of all our actions when we are in that spirit of Nishkama Yoga. Yeah, Nishkama Karma. And that is the attitude of a Karma Yogi. And so Krishna tells Arjuna, Yogaya Yujyasva Dhananjaya. Now, Arjuna, you do the same. You have an unenviable situation, no doubt, but this Kshatriya Dharma is to be done. So you also perform it as a duty, being rooted in Karma Yoga and without brooding over the consequences of this war situation. Okay. So that was a quick recap up to 50. Now let's move on to the 51st shloka. The first shloka is can you all see the shloka on the screen? Now, if we ask, what is the real benefit of Karma Yoga? The real benefit of Karma Yoga is now going to be explained in this shloka, number 51 and 52 also. Karmajam buddhi yukta hi phalam tyaktva manishinah. Karmajam buddhi yukta hi phalam tyaktva manishinah. Janma bandha vinirmuktaha padam gacchantyanāmayam. Janma bandha vinirmuktaha padam gacchantyanāmayam. Krishna says, Karmajam buddhi yukta hi phalam tyaktva manishinaha. Janma bandha vinirmuktaha padam gacchanti anamayam. So these buddhi yuktaha are the karma yogis. Yeah, the karma yogis who are rooted in Nishkama Karma Yoga. What do? Phalam tyaktva. They give up the result or the motivation attachment to the result. What kind of result? Karmajam phalam tyaktva. Now, karmajam means born of karma. See, why do we do any karma in life? We do for the sake of the result only. Yeah. So here, the karmajam phalam is the result born of a karma. These buddhi yuktaha tyaktva. So when they give up the attachment to the result, but perform their karmas, their duties and responsibilities without escaping, what happens to them? They become manishinaha. Manishinaha bhavanti, we can supply, become. So manisha means wisdom. Yeah, the wisdom. And what kind of wisdom? The next quarter, Janma Bandha Vinir Muktaha Padam Gachanti Anamayam. So they become free from the bandhanam. You know, what is the samsara bandhanam? Is this chakra? Kama, karma phalam, papa punyam, janma. So earlier we saw the karma yogi gives up both papa and punyam. I want that peace and contentment. So that is described here. These buddhi yuktas, they become janma bandha vinir muktaha, become free. Now here only janma is mentioned. But once there is janma, then all the shadvikaras will come. Yeah, there is, those challenges of growth and then changes in life, then jara, aging, and then finally mrityu. And then again the cycle starts. So Janma Bandhanam is to be taken as all this entire samsara chakra, they become freed from that. You see the blessing of this free will that we are endowed with, human being is, Puja Swamiji would say, it's like the free wheel of a car. You have the free steering wheel of the car. We can turn left, we can turn right, we proceed forwards, and we can put the car in reverse gear. Yeah, go backwards. So Karma Yoga is slowing down this cycle. Yeah, I want to jump out of the samsara chakra, but I cannot do it right away. Yeah, so this Kama Karma Janma Phalam as cycle, I begin to slow down by detaching from the Phalam. See, a momentum is already generated at birth. Prarabdha karma has begun. And I have to go through the situations being unfolded. But I have a choice. If I do Nishkama Karma Yoga, then I slow down the cycle. And eventually I gain the Adhikaritvam, a pure, steady mind, Chitta Shuddhi, and in which I can gain, by which I gain the knowledge, then
No, we are not hearing. We are not able to hear.
So this karma yogi is, slows down the bondage of karma by the attitude, the attitudinal shift. That is, I don't desire the karma phalam, and yet, as a responsible person, I will perform the action. See the second definition. What did we see of karma yoga? That yoga karmasu kaushalam. Yeah. Now, kaushala means competence. So, Samatvam Yoga Uchyate was the first definition of yoga. That is a balanced response, prasada buddhi, when receiving the results, the outcome. But the second definition, yoga karmasu kaushalam, is the competence in acting. So, how can I act pursuing dharma? How can I be a contributor? How can I live a life of least or no disturbance around me? How can I pursue values and attitudes? Krishna is going to talk a lot about it in chapter 16 and 13. Amanitvam, adambitvam, and so on. Yeah. So that is the second definition. that how one surrenders all the actions to Ishvara. Ishvara Prityartham, to please Ishvara and not to please my likes and dislikes. So it is all Ishvara Arpana Buddhi and Prasada Buddhi all the way, which is what is talked about here. Now in this shloka, Karmajam Buddhi Yuktahi Phalam Tyaktva Manishinaha Janma Bandha Vinirmuktaha Padam Gachanti Anamayam. So this Karma Yogi is a mumukshu who gets the Chitta Shuddhi, frees the mind from dvandvas. Then what is the goal for the Karma Yogi? Padam Gachanti Anamayam. So Amayam means suffering, afflictions. Yeah, and Anamayam means freedom from afflictions. That is the goal. That is the Padam. Padam is the goal. So that Anamayam Padam Gachanti. So these Buddhi Yuktas, Karma Yogis will attain that final goal. That is freedom from birth and death. They go beyond Papa and Punya. Now the question is asked, how do I know I am doing Karma Yoga or not? Yeah, Sakama, Nishkama Yoga. How do I know that? Very simple. If there is anxiety and tension, then it shows some form of inner attachment, expectation may be there. But if I'm relaxed and free from tension, yeah, and calm, then it shows that I'm going with the flow. Yeah, going with the flow of life situations. So let's chant it again. Karmajam buddhi yuktahi phalam tyaktva manishinaha janma bandha vinirmuktaha padam gacchantyanāmayam. Now 52. Yada te moha kalilam buddhir-vyatitarishyati tada gantasi nirvedam shrotavyasya shrutasya cha yada te moha kalilam buddhihi vyatitarishyati tada gantasi nirvedam shrotavyasya shrutasya cha. Now slowly Krishna is summarizing the teachings on Karma Yoga and says, Yada te moha kalilam buddhihi vyatitarishyati tada gantasi nirvedam shrotavyasya shrutasya cha. Now, if the question is asked, how long should I do Karma Yoga? Yeah. And, that is being answered in this question. Yada, when te buddhihi. So, Arjuna, when your buddhi, te buddhi, this moha kalilam tarishyati. Tarishyati is a future tense. When your buddhi will cross, will cross over this moha kalilam. We are all born in Kali Yuga, Pratama Pada, and Kali means quarrel or impurity. So it is said it's the age of impurities in the sense dharmas going down, values, attitudes. It's an age of confusion. This is one perspective. So moha kalilam is that cloud of impurities. So when your buddhi is free from moha kalilam, crosses over this delusion. What kind of delusion? Dharma, adharma, confusion over means and ends. What is the goal of life? What is the means of life? When all this aviveka is cleared and yada te buddhihi vyatitarishyati will cross over this confusion. Yeah. And Shankaracharya explains moha kalilam as avidya. Yeah. What is the cause of the samsara chakra? Kama, karma, phalam, papa, punya, janma? Avidya. Avidya being the root cause, self-ignorance. not knowing who I really am, and I have stepped into the samsara chakra. So that avidya is the meaning of moha kalilam, self-ignorance or ajnanam. So here Krishna says, and when you cross over or when you gain knowledge and cross over this moha kalilam, tada gantasi, then you will gain what? Nirvedam. Nirvedam, the word means dispassion. Yeah, we have seen this before in the context of Mundaka Upanishad. Pariksha lokan karmachitan brahmanaha nirvedam ayat. Yeah, Mundaka Upanishad, the Guru Angiras is telling Shaunaka that the mumukshu will discover dispassion. Yeah, dispassion, having understood the nature of the pursuits after finite objects. Yeah. So when the mind is craving for the finite pleasures and goals of life, then there is a passion. Yeah. But now here the karma yogi is beginning to detach. Detached from the phalam, is no more result oriented. So he's discovered what? Nirvedam. And nirvedam is that dispassion. Dispassion towards what? Shrotavyasya shrutasya cha. Shruta means heard. And Shrotavya is to be heard in future. So all that one has heard about in the Vedas, in the Vedas or in advertisements, in the brochures, what do we hear about? So many attractions and tempting offers. If you perform this ritual, you can gain this, you can avoid this obstacle, you can go to heaven, you can go to exotic locations, you can buy so many attractive things. So whatever is known, the pleasures and powers and whatever is yet to be known, yeah, all of them, this karma yogi, he has developed a dispassion. Nirvedam shrotavyasya shudasya cha. And the story of, Nachiketa comes to our mind when Yamadharmaraja tempts Nachiketa. You can have grandsons who will be hundreds of years old. You can go to the highest Sargalokas and have non-stop entertainment, Nachiketa stands firm ground and says, no, I have got Nirvedam and I do not want any of these offers. Yeah. So here, 52 is talking about how this karma yogi, gains the ultimate goal, anamayam padam. Ananyam padam means that goal of liberation, of freedom, yeah, by developing the dispassion, nirvedam. Yada te moha kalilam buddhit vyatitarishyati tada gantasi nirvedam shrotavyasya shrutasya cha. Shruti vipratipanna te yada sthasyati nischala samadhavachala buddhihi tada yogamavapsyasi. Shruti vipratipanna te yada sthasyati nischala samadhau achala buddhihi tada yogam avapsyasi. Now this section is the teachings of karma yoga, also called buddhi yoga by Bhagavan. Now this section is now being summarized by Krishna and says that yada, yada te Shruti vipratipanna buddhihi. So when your mind, Arjuna, yeah, which is what at present it is Shruti vipratipanna. Shruti vipratipanna means it is confused. Yeah, it is deluded under this fog of moha. Shoka, moha, raga, dvesha being there. So there is the clouds of impurities clouding your understanding of what is to be done, what is the goal, what is the means. You're not clear about it. So, te buddhihi is what? Shruti viprati panna. Deluded. Okay. Then, when that is thasyati, when the buddhi becomes nischala. Nischala and achala. Two words, Krishna uses. Nischala is steady-minded and achala is without doubts. Without doubts. And when it will be placed in samadhi. So, samadhau achala buddhi sthasyati. When your buddhi is firm and steady, becomes achala and nischala. Now, why two words is, one is achala means firm and steady buddhi. This is what I want in life. This is the goal. I'm clear about it. And achala, nischala is without being distracted. Yeah, I can be distracted by so many pursuits in life. Yeah, and without distractions. So, achala, nischala, buddhi, when it abides, thasyati means again future tense, when it will abide in samadhi. Now, the word samadhi has to be also understood as atma. Yeah. So, when the mind is going towards the worldly pursuits, we're going away from atma. But now the karma yogi has developed nirvedam, dispassion. So, there is a homeward return. So, the mind returns away from the worldly pursuits and focuses inwards on the atma. That is called here as samadhau sthasyati. When your buddhi will abide, in the atma jnanam, yeah, then what? Tada yogam avapsyasi. Then you will gain yoga. Now, this word yoga is the most frequent word in the entire Gita. How every chapter is a yoga. You know that yoga is a topic. Buddhi yoga, Raja yoga, Bhakti yoga, Mantra yoga. So many yogas are there. And the yoga means harmony or union. Yeah. So depending on the context, we will take the meaning of yoga. So what is the meaning of yoga here? It is not karma yoga. It is jnanam. Yeah. It is atma jnanam. So yogam avapsyasi. When you clear this delusion in the mind, yeah, delusion of the means and the goals, when the mind is steady, that what is the steadiness about? Karma yoga is the only way, and jnanameva moksha is the only goal. There is no other way. Now, the various ways, karma yoga will include what all? It will include all the means to purify the body, mind, and senses. Some people will do Ashtanga yoga, asanas, pranayama. Some will do pujas and go on tirthayatras. Some will do pancha mahayajnas. All these are various ways of karma yoga to purify the mind, plus our role playing. Yeah, and it has only one thing in mind, that is to gain the chitta shuddhi, and then guru prapti, jnana prapti, jnanam, jnanameva moksha. So that when that is clear, then yogam avapsyasi, you will gain the atma jnanam. Okay. Let's chant this again. Shruti vipratipanna te yatha sthasyasi nischala samadhavachala buddhihi tada yogam avapsyasi. Now that the third topic of this Sankhya Yoga chapter is over, now we begin the last section of chapter 2, and that is called the Sthita Prajna Prakarana. And this is a very beautiful section. Where Arjuna asks his first question. And we're going to see that question. So now, we know Krishna must be a little tired. He's been talking since verse number 11. Yeah. And Krishna has unfolded all the shlokas on Atma Jnanam. Yeah. And then is, motivating Arjuna with the teachings of Karma Yoga, and then finally summarized it. So the last shloka we saw, Shruti Viprati Pannate Yatha Sthasriti Nischala is what? The whole first line is Karma Yoga. Then Samadhav Achala Buddhi Tada Yokam Avapsyasi is Jnana Yoga. So both Karma Yoga and Sankhya Yoga are summarized in the previous shloka, number 53. So now there is a pause and Krishna takes a break and Arjuna raises a question. So in all the Shastras, it is very important for questions to take place. Because if we do not ask questions, then there is no mananam. Krishna is going to tell later also, Tatvidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya. May one ask pariprashna. Pariprashna is to have a healthy curiosity, jijnasa. And so Arjuna is going to keep on asking questions till 18th chapter. But this is his first question. Yeah. And let us see what that question is. Arjuna is now curious to know about these jnanis, who are freed from Janma Bandhana and who are abiding in that goal, Anamayam Padam goal. Arjuna Uvacha Sthita Prajnasya Ka Bhasha Samadhistasya Keshava Sthitadhi Kim Prabhasheta Kimasita Vrajeta Kim. Arjuna Uvacha Sthita Prajnasya Ka Bhasha Samadhistasya He Keshava Sthitadhihi Kim Prabhasheta Kim Asita Kim Vrajeta Kim. So, what is the question here? Arjuna's first question is a very good question, actually. He says, "Oh Krishna, you're talking about Sankhya. You're praising Sankhya, and the one who attains the goal is free from Janma and Maranam. So that person is a Sthita Prajnaha. Now, Sthita Prajnaha, let's look at the word. Prajna means knowledge. Yeah. And Sthita Prajna means Sthita Prajna Yasya Saha. So the one for whom this wisdom, Atma Jnanam, is very clear and steady, who has a Achala Nischala Buddhihi. Such a person of steady wisdom is called as Sthita Prajnaha or Sthita Dhihi. Dhihi means Buddhi. So the one whose Buddhi is Eka Vyavasayatmika and who has gained this Atma Jnanam. Such a one is the wise person of steady wisdom. So now this section of the last 18 verses is collectively called Sthita Prajna Prakarana. And it is said that Mahatma Gandhi would chant these 18 verses every day. It's a beautiful section and contains the essence of the whole Vedanta. Every verse, Krishna is going to unfold about, how is the conduct and vyavahara of this wise person. How can this wise person be such an inspiring role model and guide for everyone? Now, Arjuna is asking that only. Sthita Prajnasya Ka Bhasha. Here, Bhasha does not mean language. Bhasha means Paribhasha. Paribhasha means description. So what, Krishna, Keshava, what is the characteristics and gunas, lakshana of a wise person? Yeah, samadhistasya. Again, samadhi here means Atma Jnanam. The one who abides as Atma. Yeah, how would that person be? Yeah, who is rooted in Atma Nitya Vastu. How does the Sthita Dhihi Prabhasheta? How would he talk? Would he talk at all? So Ramana Maharishi observed Maunam. In Ramana Maharishi's case, no, not much speech. But you see, Puja Swamiji and so many people, they talk for hours. They travel the globe, whereas some sages did not even leave their hometown. So there are all kinds of, myths We think jnanis will walk very slowly, talk very slowly, or they would not travel, they would not have coffee and tea. So many ideas we have. So there is a natural curiosity. So now that is what Arjuna is asking. Sthitadehi kim prabhasheta? How would a wise person talk? And kim asita? How would he sit? In Padmasana, or, in what way? Then Vrajeta kim? How would the wise person walk? Yeah. Or would he levitate in the air? So do they have mystical powers? So all these ideas, we may be confused about. Yeah. So that is the first question. And in response, Krishna is unfolding the rest, the concluding section of chapter 2, describing the steady, the man of steady wisdom. So you see, the Sthita Prajna is such a role model. So Shankaracharya in his Bhashya commentary describes that how people in the world, we always imitate somebody who is in a influential position, like film actors, motivational speakers, influencers in the world. But here, the Sthita Prajnas are such a role model that all these gunas, their non-judgmental, compassionate, generous, non-reacting mind, they are adorning them. So they are like abhushanam, jewels. And for us, the mumukshus and karma yogis, they become sadhanani. So they become goals to emulate. Yeah, so to imitate. Like it is said, fake it and make it. So by looking up to such role models and imitating them, we can also walk the path of the Sthita Prajnas. So now that is what Krishna is going to unfold next. And the very first shloka is a very important one. Let's look at 55. Shri Bhagavanuvacha, Shri Bhagavanuvacha, Prajahati yada kaman, Prajahati yada kaman, सर्वान् पार्थमनोगतान् आत्मन्येवात्मना तुष्टः स्थितप्रज्ञस्तदोच्यते श्री भगवान् उवाच प्रजहाति यदा कामान् सर्वान् पार्थ हे पार्थ मनोगतान् आत्मन्येव आत्मना तुष्टः स्थितप्रज्ञः तदा उच्यते. O Partha, says Krishna, O Partha, yada, again when, when sarvan kaman manogatan prajahati, when one gives up. Prajahati means jahati, same verb we saw earlier also. Here it is. Earlier it was, the karma yogi gives up the attachment to the phalam. But here it is what prakarshena jahat. Yeah, this wise person has given up even the notion of doership. Kartritva, bhoktritva, tyaga. It will all come later. So prajahati, the wise person gives up sarvan kaman manogatan, which means all the desires that are manogatan. Manogatan means rising in the lake of the mind. We know that we cannot even predict what the next thought is going to be in our mind. Yeah. So the mind will produce thoughts and fancies, all the time. So what does this Sthita Prajna do? Prajahati. Yeah, he renounces. How does he renounce the desires arising in the mind? Through viveka and vichara. And he sees in the screen-like mind, oh, these thoughts are rising, but he does not go along with them. He does not encourage them. He does not pursue the desires because he's got shamaha, mastery over the mind. Then what will happen to the desire? It will just subside back into the mind lake. So that is the first line, that when one gives up the desires arising in the mind, yeah. Then second line shows how is he able to do that? Atmani eva atmana tushtaha. So this jnani is tushtaha. Tushtaha means happy and contented with the Atma Darshanam, satisfied by oneself in oneself. Atmani eva atmana tushtaha. Tada. Then one is called a sthita prajnaha. So, generally, what is the idea we usually have? That one is happy when we fulfill desires, not when we, give up desires. How can we be happy when we give up desires? Fulfillment of desires makes us happy, right? Yes and no. So we become happy when we have saved enough and got that branded watch or the Samsung Galaxy or that BMW or that exotic vacation. We fulfilled desires, it made us happy and secure. But again, we're back to square one. New desires have come. And what is my thought in the mind? Tomorrow, when I fulfill the desire, I'll be more happy. It'll be a wonderful day. I have something more to achieve. And that cycle is never ending. So now this jnani called Sthita Prajnaha or Sthitadhi has, by the jnana yoga, gaining Sankhya yoga, has had the vision of the Purnatma, Ananda Rupa Atma Jnana. He has discovered that as Atma, I lack nothing. I am Purnam. I am adequate. I am fulfilled, complete, whole person. So he has discovered the desireless nature of Atma. Remember, we saw a shloka earlier which talked about when there is a flood everywhere, then of what use are the ponds and the wells in supplying water? No use. So too the jnani will feel, having gained the goal of moksha, what will I gain by the finite pursuits in the world? By the worldly pursuits. So he prajahati sarvan kaman manogatan he partha. And so the jnani is not dependent on an external object, event, situation, person in order to be happy. So this happiness is called nir-nimitta ananda. There is no nimittam. These days when somebody looks happy, we ask them, why are you looking so happy today? So, but this jnani will always look very peaceful and relaxed. Yeah. As though we need a reason to be happy. And that is really the goal of knowledge. Yeah. One is contented in oneself, by oneself. Atmani eva, atmana tushta. Now here, one important point is the word kama. Now, kama means desire. So, in chapter 3, Krishna is going to say, this kama desire is the greatest enemy. But later on in chapter 7, Krishna says, desire is a great privilege. Yeah. How can we reconcile both? Because when the kama is binding means pressurizing me. When I crave for the desire fulfillment, yeah, then that makes the mind unsteady and I will compromise on dharma also. And when the desire is not fulfilled, we're going to see later, it leads to destruction, anger. Any anger we take is because a desire could not be fulfilled. Whereas non-binding desires, why is Krishna teaching Arjuna 18 chapters? And Krishna is expecting Arjuna to understand that's a desire on part of Krishna. Vyasacharya wrote 18 Puranas, Mahabharatam, Brahma Sutras. Yeah, and Shankaracharya wrote Bhashyas on the Prasthanatrayam. They're all desires. In fact, Shankaracharya says, I desire to write a commentary on the Gita, on the Upanishads, for the purpose of easy comprehension. I want people to understand clearly what are meant by these shlokas. So when the desires are sattvic and non-binding for loka sangraha, upliftment of the larger good, then it is not binding. So those kamas are not meant here. So the Sthita Prajna gives up the desires which are binding, craving for fulfillment. If I fulfill these desires, then only I will be happy. So what can we do? We have to convert the binding desires to non-binding. If I do the dosha darshanam and I ask myself, can I still be happy if the desire is not fulfilled? And so what? Then that is a very good change. No? But there are some desires which have to be fulfilled. Yeah, so then I have no choice, but I have to fulfill them and experience the result. Then I become wiser. Wiser in the sense I want to have more freedom over my desires. And this is the whole thing about Karma Yoga. So let's chant it again. Sri Bhagavan Vacha Prajahati Yada Kaman Sarvan Partha Manogatan Atman Evatmana Tushtaha Sthita Prajnastadochyate. 56. दुःखेष्वनुद्विग्नमनः सुखेषु विगतस्पृहः वीतरागभयक्रोधः स्थितधीर्मुनिरुच्यते दुःखेषु अनुद्विग्नमनः सुखेषु विगतस्पृहः वीतरागभयक्रोधः स्थितधीः मुनिः उच्यते. So again the description of the wise person continues. And Krishna says here, Dukkheshu anudvignamanaha. Anudvignamanaha means unagitated, unperturbed. In what situations? Dukkheshu. Situations of dukkham, unfavorable situations. So here, you have to see that dukkham has three sources. That is why we say Shanti 3 times. So, Adhyatmika Dukkham, Adi Bhautika Dukkham, Adi Daivika Dukkham. We all know this very well. Adhyatmika is very, very well known. Migraine, headaches, body pain, stomach ache, all this, any product that is put together will suffer, decline. And so, those that are centered on the body, mind dukkham, emotional pain that Arjuna is going through, indecision, procrastination, depression, anxiety, all adhyatmika dukkham. Then adi bhautika dukkham. There can be traffic jam, mosquitoes, bugs, construction sites near your home, so much sound, which is not helping me concentrate. Adi bhautika from the surroundings. Then adi daivika. By divine factors like an earthquake or flood situation, storms, again that brings dukkha. But in all these situations, dukkheshu, this Sthita Prajna is anudvigna manaha. He is unagitated. He remains calm, whose mind is unagitated. Then sukheshu. What about the favorable situation? Sukheshu vigata sprihaha. Vigata sprihaha means the one who has no spriha, longing or craving for sukha situation. Favorable situations alone should happen to me. And when they happen, I want them to be prolonged. This is not there for a wise person. That is why it is said, agate swagatam gachantam na nivarayet. So when a situation comes, when it is dukkham, I accept prasada. When it is sukham, also prasada. I don't want sukham to continue, nor dukkham to leave. Both are welcomed with prasada buddhi. Then what else? Vita raga bhayat krodaha. This wise person, Sthita Prajna, is Vita. Vita is free from attachment, raga, bhayam, fear, krodha, anger. All samasa here. So, when we are free from raga dveshas, if I'm free from the anxiety of a phalam, how can there be fear? Fear will be there only when I have a desire for phalam. When I'm anticipating a phalam, Then there is anxiety and fear. Will it happen? In what form will I get the result? Whether I will get the result? So there is bhayam. And again, when that raga is unfulfilled, then there is krodha. But now this jnani has diffused the whole situation. There are no raga dveshas, means there is no cause for anxiety. There is no binding desire, and there can be no consequences like fear, anxiety, or anger. In fact, Shankaracharya gives the Advaitic explanation also. No, in the Upanishad it is said, Dvaitad hi bhayam bhavati. That is, if you consider there is somebody other than you, yeah, if there is that view of Dvaitam, yeah, then there is a sense of competition. I want to become like that person, and there is a stress and tension. But the Sthita Prajna has what? The vision of oneness. So he says, everybody is me alone. And ahameva idam sarvam. So when there is only the one, then how can there be anger and fear of the other? Because there is no other. There is only me. And that is the vision of Vedanta, which again will follow in great detail in the following chapters. So such a person with these gunas is a Sthita Dehi and he is a Munihi. Munihi means Mananashilaha. Mananashilaha means the one who has done lot of Shravanam and Maranam, Viveka and Vichara, and has developed a steady wisdom. दुःखेष्वनुद्विग्नमनः सुखेषु विगतस्पृहः वीतरागभयक्रोधः स्थितधीर्मुनिरुच्यते. 57. Do one more. यः सर्वत्रानभिस्नेहः तत्तत्प्राप्य शुभाशुभं नाभिनन्दति न द्वेष्टि तस्य प्रज्ञा प्रतिष्ठिता. यः सर्वत्र अनभिस्नेहः तत्तत्प्राप्य शुभ अशुभं न अभिनन्दन्ति न द्वेष्टि तस्य प्रज्ञा प्रतिष्ठिता. Very beautiful shloka again here. So all these shlokas, help us to understand the vyavahara of a wise person. That's why if we are fortunate to have a Gurukula Vasa, if we have stayed for shorter or longer times in a Gurukulam, we can see the sadhus or the wise people, how they interact with all the people. They're very non-judgmental, very simple, non-reacting, and highly compassionate. So all this we can observe. And here Krishna is describing those traits of a wise person of steady wisdom. Yaha sarvatra anabhisneha tattat prapya shubha ashubham. So the one who does not have excessive sneha. Sarvatra means everywhere. Now, what does sneha mean? Sneha is affection. So we all have affection for our family members, is it not? Maximum affection will be there naturally. That is not the problem. But abhisneha is the problem. Abhisneha means excessive affection. Yeah. So we know this as parents, no? It is difficult to draw the line between love and attachment. So when there is love, there is freedom. But when I cross that line, when there is excessive affection, then what do? We want to control the situation. We're very possessive of the person and we have demands and expectations, and ultimately it hurts everybody. We feel the pain in the heart. So here Krishna says the wise people are unattached everywhere. Whether it is a cupboard, whether it is my laptop, insentient possessions or live sentient people, there is no agenda, no expectations. Yaha sarvatra anabhisneha. Then what? Tattat prapya shubha ashubham. And gaining Shubham at times favorable, and Ashubham unpleasant. Na abhinandanti, na dveshti. So neither will the wise person rejoice excessively on gaining something favorable, nor will he resent and hate something ashubham, na dveshti. Tasya prajna pratisthita. So the wise person accepts both situations, Shubha and Ashubham, with a non-reacting mind, and there is no favoritism, there is no clinging attachment to anything, in the world. Sarvatra anabhisneha. That is the nature of the wise. And tasya prajna pratisthita. And such a wisdom is very steady. And many times, we compare the mind or the attitude of a wise person to the sun. There is a Subhashitam, a shloka in Sanskritam, which says, have you noticed how the sun appears the same crimson red at sunrise, and again reddish, same crimson red at sunset? So, sampriktau cha vipaktau cha. In vipatti and sampatti, in times of distress, ashubham situation or shubham, favorable situations, the mind enjoys the balance. Yeah. Knowing that it is part of life being unfolded as my prarabdha, and I go through both, with an unattached mind. So the jnanis, of course, they will be happy or sad, but the happiness and sadness will be somewhat like just ripples on the surface. But deep inside their mind, they will be deep as the ocean. And we know that the ocean depth is very calm and very steady. Only surface ripples are there. So the jnanis will not, become sukhi and dukhi intensely as per the situation. They maintain their inward balance. Okay? Let us read the shlokas and then we'll conclude. Yes sarvatrānabhisnehaha tattat prāpya shubhāshubham nābhinandati nadveshti tasya prajñā pratisthita. दुःखेष्वनुद्विग्नमनः सुखेषु विगतस्पृहः वीतरागभयक्रोधः स्थितधी मुनिरुच्यते. श्रीभगवानुवाच प्रजहाति यदा कामान् सर्वान् पार्थमनोगतान् आत्मन्येवात्मना तुष्टः स्थितप्रज्ञस्तदोच्यते. So Sri Krishna is explaining, what are the stages of bhakti? No? So the bhakti has come slowly but surely. So we all have our bhakti routines, puja routines, in the room. But Krishna says, Swakarmana tamabhyarcha siddhim vindati manavaha. But the real bhakta is the one who offers all the actions to Ishvara, what is to be done, and the one who has the steady vision that we just saw has the jnana bhakti. The one who worships Ishvara in the form of all the beings and who has the steady vision, who neither excessively is attached nor does he hate, and who is all accepting, all accommodating, and who is his wisdom is steady. Okay? Oh. पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते. ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः. हरिः ॐ.